Hello everyone, my name is Ariel and I'm going to show you one of the main modules we implemented in this national stage of the Gold Computer Hacker League. It's a canister dedicated to managing communications between users. The main elements used to store the data inside this canister are two hash maps. One of them stores the chats and the other stores user information. The latter is basically for access control purposes. As for the chat identifier, which works as the key within this map, it is derived from the principles of the participants in the chat plus a context. The calculation is done by first sorting the principles, then converting them to text, then concatenating them, and finally concatenating the context. After all that concatenation, the resulting text is hashed, and that becomes the chat identifier. What this context parameter allows is a separation of the context in which two people are conversing. For example, the context could be a specific task or a direct message, etc. Regarding the communication that exists between the main canister, this one, and the chat canister, when a user registers on the platform, after all the pertinent verifications, a call is made to the chat canister to register that new user through this function in the chat canister. This enables them to communicate with other registered users as well. As for messaging specifically, we have a function to start a chat with a certain number of participants. First, it checks that the user exists. We also have a function to add a message to an existing chat by its ID. The check performed here is whether that user is part of the conversation. In this step, the system looks for the index that the user has within the list of chat participants. If no index is found, it means they're not part of the conversation and the function exits with an error. If the index exists, the new message is associated with that user. Next, there's a function to read a chat in a paginated way by specifying the chat ID and the page number. Initially, page 0 is requested, which would return the last 10 messages in this case. Based on this, the front end will know whether there are previous messages or not. On the other hand, during the actions of starting a chat and adding a message, notifications are stored for each participating user using this function. This way, either through a polling technique or by calling this function when the user logs in, they can receive those notifications directly in the front end, which allows for a more automated flow. When the user clicks on a notification, this function is also called to mark it as read, identifying it by its date. Additionally, the user can deliberately delete it directly through this function, also using the date to identify it. And basically, that's the most important part of this particular module.